Oh God. Okay, yes. Okay, and now I am back to review the Star Trek, Turkish Star Trek, Tourist Omar, the dummy in Star Trek world. Tourist Omar, Tourist Omar. Yes, by what the director's name was Sadri Alisik. Alisik. It's not an S. It's a sh. Anyway, okay. Turkish Star Trek is a 1973 fan film done in Turkey. It's on a par with Turkish Star Wars, which is better known as the atom that saved the world. But this is Turkish Star Trek. It is one of the strangest. It's like one of those Turkey movies. I don't want to show clips from it because I'll probably get flagged somewhere in the world, maybe Turkey. So basically, we have this like odd Star Trek thing. I'm gonna turn that light off. I don't really catch like some scenes here. So basically, what this movie was like a parody of both Amok Time and The Man Trap. And a little bit of What Are Little Girls Made Of thrown in just for fun. Yeah, so. Okay. And of course, it's completely baffling. That's what's going on. I'm going to turn off. Alright, so. So I'm just going to review the movie. I've seen it a couple of times. I'm going to just kind of go over it. It's like a lost episode of the original classic Star Trek. And it takes place in the roughly first or second season somewhere. Yeah. And it was made in 73. I was 3 years old when it came out. Yeah, okay, first of all, the Kirk and crew, we open up our story with some narration that's in Turkish. I don't speak Turkish, but it had subtitles, so I just read the subtitles. There's this guy named Tourist Omer, and I guess that Omer is also a Turkish word for like fool, and they didn't like American tourists very much back then. They thought they were annoying and they were like messing up stuff. So they thought that it would be. So this character was created called Tourist Omer, and he would basically run around doing goofy court gestury, like clowny Chevy Chase kind of stuff, basically. Early Chevy Chase, pratfallsy stuff. Very vaudevillian kind of. He'd have like a crumpled hat and a bunch of crushed other stuff. And he'd look like a bum. Ooh, that's funny. But yeah, he was supposed to be drinking or something as well. And many of the other bumbling characters have been similar to this. Tourist Omar is going to a wedding where he's been forced at gunpoint to marry a woman. And that's their idea of humor over there. And he's like, oh no, I'm forced her to do this thing. And then this other weird stuff. He wishes to be somewhere else, basically. And then he's whisked away to this planet, this desert planet. It's the same set, just further along in the ruins. It's in Turkey somewhere, where he meets up with the crew of the Enterprise. Now, there's this other story that's the Star Trek story in there, in that the crew of the Enterprise goes to this desert planet to meet McCoy's ex-wife. That sounds familiar, yeah. Meet McCoy's ex-wife, who may or may not have been turned into an alien android monster robot. Well, they couldn't afford a monster mask, so it's robots. So they painted up like, stuck some like tinfoil pieces and stuff to people's backs and whatever, to their chest or whatever, and made them walk stiffly. And so there's What Are Little Girls Made Of with the robots. That's an episode of Star Trek as well. Also, at the end, it's Amok Time because Spock goes down there and is enchanted by the magician, or something, and he gets enchanted by the monster, and he wants to fight Kirk in the arena, and they show that at the end. So yeah, that's pretty much the whole plot. But yeah, the movie, the tourist is thrown in there for effect. Yes, Mr. Tourist is beamed up accidentally onto the Enterprise with Spock, who needs to analyze things. And what's funny is Spock is they apparently can't say the word Spock in Turkish standard. It looks like Spack. So every time they say his name, it goes like Spack, Mr. Spack, Mr. Spack. So yeah, and Kirk and whatever. Shit. Spack. Yeah. So yeah, it's funny. It's not easy to watch because it's in Turkish and you won't get the subtitles. I found a bootleg of it at a convention years ago, and it was only half of it. And I had to find another one that was less of a bootleg that had all of it. To watch all of it in all of its glory, to see the whole thing. There's also a scene where they allude to the Where No One Has Gone Before, and Sulu's botany thing gets thrown in there, and the botany lady. And the characters are not Hollywood pretty at all. They're not. There's some people that were fans that got out there, did their own thing. The woman is, one of the ladies in there is mannish looking. It could be somebody in drag. There's other ones that are like, other people that are like, yeah, it's probably not, but it's a very strange story. It has the tourist thrown in there. Like, he didn't need to be there at all. It could have just been a Star Trek episode where they go to the planet. But I guess they figured, well, we have to appeal to the tourist Omer fan base. Yeah. Out of context, I don't know, I haven't seen any other surviving tourist Omer episodes, but apparently this was one of them. And they spent almost 80 minutes on it, going to what were they doing? But yeah, it's like, okay, Turkish Star Trek, okay. It technically is the first Star Trek movie, first fan film to be a feature length, 1973. And I thought that I would review it for the 50th anniversary. So I did. Yeah. Tourist Omer. They didn't like tourists messing with their stuff. So they're making fun of. I've never been to Turkey, so couldn't say. But the question is, has Cenk Unger over the Young Turks watched Turkish Star Trek? And if so, what does he think? So, does he think it's utterly silly and pointless, or because he could probably understand it without the subtitles? He'd be like, "Oh yeah, I know what they're saying." It was probably extremely dated, though. It's like all the jokes were 70s jokes, and I suppose if you were in the 73, you totally would have gotten them. But yeah, so basically, in order for the tourist to get back to his own timeline, he has to back to the wedding. It's to convince Kirk and Spock to let him go back. So he messes with the computer and the comm device and stuff. Does some Silly Trek stuff to everything. Long before Silly Trek. Oh, yeah. by at least a decade. Yeah, we didn't know about Turkish Star Trek back then in the 80s. No, we didn't. So they then go about trying to get him off the ship, got back down to the planet. They have to stop the monster and the guy creating the robots, and there's a Corby / professor dude from The Little Girls Made Up. There's a bunch of yeah, that's just the name of the episode. The episode What Are Little Girls Made Of was it's an odd title, but it had nothing to do with girls. It was about robots. So anyway, yeah, so well, there was a girl robot in it, but Kirk convinces something to let him go. Of course, because he's Kirk. He's Captain Kirk. It makes them swoon because he's Kirk, even if it's a robot. Yes, Bill Shatner. Bill Shatner. So yes, no, Shatner's not in this. Turkish Shatner's in this. He looks kind of like Vic Mignogna, actually. Continues. I should do a review of their fan film. Maybe later. I did see that as well. One of their fan films. So, yeah, I've seen all the Star Trek Continues stuff. It's very good and very professional looking. But they can get away with it because apparently they got connections. So, yeah. So, they have a new one too. Yeah. About the lady captain as well. Different story. So, yeah. Yeah, we have Turkish Star Trek, which you should go check that out on YouTube. It's really bizarre. If you're a Star Trek fan, really hardcore, probably enjoy it. If you're a fan of cheesy movies that kind of missed the point, but kind of got it right in places, they're in like bargain basement Star Trek costumes they probably made. It's interesting. It's just a phenomenal train wreck. It's awesome. It's so bad. Yes. I know a lot of people have done the Star Wars one, but there haven't been that many reviews of Turkish Star Trek. So, tourist Omer in Turkish Star Trek. Literally the dummy tourist in space, basically. That's what it is. Literally, it's spaceship. Star Journey or whatever. Yeah. Because Trek. Mr. Spack. Oh yeah, and at the end of the movie, since there's like no point in it, I'll give it away. The spoiler. Tourist is beamed back to the wedding, and he's like, "Oh no, I'm going to have to marry this woman." That was all. Oh yeah, I forgot the joke that they threw in there was the wife was already pregnant, and he's like saying, he's basically telling them she can't be my wife because I didn't have sex with her. That was the joke. So there was what? So they wanted him to marry a lady that was already pregnant. I guess they what? Okay. I guess it's some kind of a war bride joke or some. I don't know what that is. It's just a pregnancy joke, I guess. But at the end, he realizes that he has been given the gift of Spock's ears. So he's got Spock's ears at the end. And he goes, I've been also given the Vulcan neck pinch. And he goes, and he neck pinches the two guys that have the guns and the party parishioner guy. And then he walks away and he's like, hey, and he goes, thank you, Mr. Spack. He walks off the set. He gets away with it because they didn't have to marry the girl after all. And they drive off in what appears to be, a Chevy Chevelle from the 70s. That's what the hell? Oh boy. Turkish Star Trek.